Hey guys, it is me, Kisame Unlimited, and I'm with Spidey in the background. He's helping me do this special video for you guys.
Cameraman 24.
And in this video, I'm tackling my signed Yu-Gi-Oh card collection. If this video does well, maybe I'll do my top 50 rarest cards in this entire game, which I think will be very fun. So if you guys want to see that, like this video. A while ago, I really got into these plaques from the 25th anniversary. So I took a lot of signed cards I think that would make great plaques, and I've been doing this. Like this is my plaque for Kaiba, which is 3 autographed starter deck Kaiba Blue Eyes White Dragons. I had these personally signed by Eric Stewart himself. I was actually with Spidey when I got these done. This is my plaque featuring Dark Rabbit, Relinquished, and Toon World, which I think are Pegasus's probably most iconic cards. So the voice actor of Pegasus is Darren Dunstan. So, and this obviously was Eric Stewart. Don't know if I said that. So yeah, and I like his autograph especially because he does like the little Millennium Eye on it. This is probably my favorite one, which is done by Mark Thompson, which is the voice actor of Raphael, which, you know, his 3 most iconic cards were always Guardian Yatos, Guardian Grawl, and Guardian Chaos. So I took my own personal Guardian cards and had him personally sign them. This was amazing. This is definitely my favorite one in the lineup. So, and this is probably one of the reasons why I wanted to do these 3 card plaques, because I feel like I like the idea of taking like I want to say Yu-Gi-Oh characters, like main 3 iconic cards, and like placing them together. I think it makes it look really, really beautiful seeing them in that kind of light. Of Weevil Underwood's lineup of like Insect Queen, Perfectly Ultimate, Great Moth, and Basic Insect. Some of these cards I wasn't able to get personally signed. I had them PSA graded, and I ended up cracking them open from their PSA seals. And just so that people would know that they're authentic, I took their actual infos and I put them on the back, so obviously that people could still see that they're authentic. This one I had personally signed by Ted Lewis himself, which is the voice actor of Jack Atlas. So I didn't really know what cards I specifically wanted signed. One definitely 100% being, you know, Red Dragon Archfiend. But then I said, you know what? I want to take his 2 iconic cards that make up Red Dragon Archfiend. And that was, I think, like Big Piece Golem and yes, and Dark Resonator. This is a plaque signed by Jonathan Ross, which is the English voice actor of Marek. And, you know, I picked, you know, that I wanted Revival Jam because Revival Jam is like my favorite. Obviously, the Winged Dragon of Ra. I ended up getting the other Ra signed, but I ended up doing this one also, and I ended up switching it because this is the Ra that matters. And then I had Lava Golem because I thought that those were his 3 most iconic. You could probably also argue like Machiura the Destroyer or maybe a few others, but this is my plaque dedicated to Marek. I personally want to get more of these kind of plaques because this is where I feel like the true, you know, OG, like, nostalgia of the game belongs, because it's just like everybody, like, you know, if you grew up with these characters, you know what these cards are and their meaning. Now, Mark Thompson was not only just the voice of Raphael, he was also the voice of Chaz. So I had the 3 Ojama brothers signed as well. I thought that that was a nice little addition that I personally liked. So, you know, get Ojama Green, Ojama Yellow, and Ojama Black. Ted Lewis is also the voice actor of Bakura. So I think out of all the decks that Bakura ever really featured, the coolest one was the one with Dark Necrofear, Destiny Board, which I think really are probably the most iconic cards he had in the whole anime. So I thought that this was a really nice addition for Bakura that I really, really liked. Banded Keith, which I also really liked. So I picked Zoa, Barrel Dragon, and Slot Machine. Because, you know, I gotta appreciate the good OG Cheetah himself, you know. And also don't forget, I'm an American. So obviously I gotta show some love to Mr. Bandit Keith. This one I think is special because this is the lineup of the 3 legendary dragons from Waking the Dragons, signed by Dan Green for Yugi, Wayne Grayson for the Claw of Hamros, and Claire Hamos, And for the Fang of Critias, signed by Eric Stewart, signed by each of the, the main trio, and having their iconic, signature, like, dragons from Waking the Dragons. I thought it was really, really cool, especially after getting the Raphael cards. This was icing on the cake for me, so I really, really like this. I don't know if everyone's gonna know this, but My Valentine in the anime had 2 voice actors in the beginning, and then I want to say in season 4, that's when her voice actor changed. So I got 2 plaques of the same iconic cards from Mai, being Harpy Lady's Sisters, Harpy Lady, and Harpy's Pet Dragon. Both signed by Erica and Megan, which are both of Mai's English voice actors. My personal favorite one is the one with Erica, because even though I liked Megan's voice more, because she's the traditional Mai, but I just love Erica's signature way more. But personally, I really like having the set of both, because, this is her iconic lineup, and having...
Hold them both again.
So I like really having both, because I think it's, a nice homage to both voice actors. I think it's very nice. I'm going to be featuring my plaque that I also had done at Collecticon, which is my signed plaque of the Egyptian God cards, signed by Dan Green, being my Slifer, Obelisk, and Ra from the G4 set, which I personally really like. So I wish they were all kind of done with the same marker, but I still really, really like them. I understand why Dan didn't do it with Ra, because obviously Ra was also yellow, but very definitely a beautiful set and a nice addition. This is my second Winged Dragon of Ra signed by that. The good old Wayne Grayson, Joey Wheeler. We got a nice Flame Swordsman. We got Red Eyes Black Dragon, and good old Time Wizard. I personally try, a lot of the time when I make these plaques, I try to pick cards that are the most iconic that the duelist ever had. I was really debating, I kind of wanted to do Gearfried the Iron Knight, but I was like, I don't think Gearfried kind of out trumps any of these other 3, so I personally really like the lineup that I chose, because obviously Flame Swordsman is his favorite, Red Eyes is his ace, and he had Time Wizard win him pretty much so many games. This plaque was more done last minute. I personally kind of wanted to do this, which was I made a nice plaque dedicated to Yugi and his most iconic magicians. I wanted a good old Dark Magician. This one I had personally signed, and then I had my Dark Magician Girl and Chaos ones I ended up purchasing PSA graded, and I ended up having them, obviously with their stamps like that. Put it in there just, for the authenticity. Personally thought that was all good.
Yeah, he's missing over there.
Well, this one, that was the Dark Magician I had personally done. Spidey 24. Oh my god. Yeah, this is probably the rarest plaque of them all.
Has to be.
Signed by Obnoxious Celtic Guardian, Nibble Momaga, Winged Dragon of Ra. This is the OG man that I fucking grew up with. This man played Yu-Gi-Oh! He was something else. This man,
he just won't let these cards go.
Every
he still plays them to this day, 20 years later.
Every video, you see nothing but Obnoxious Celtic Guardian content, Nibble manga content. But you know what? Got the rarest set right here. So this is my signed token of Dan Green, where he's with his obvious character that he voices. So this was a very nice piece to get. So very nice, very nice. So these cards were the cards that kind of got me into collecting signed cards, because I really like the way that the tokens were, because they were from the World Championship qualifiers, where they have the voice actors there, and they kind of they do a voice, they do the duels and everything, so that's where you could get a lot of these custom cards made, and I really, really like them, especially being autographed. So let's get into the next one. We've got Joey Wheeler. Have Joey Wheeler with his obvious, voice actor right there, Mr. Wayne Grayson. Now we got good old Kaiba with his English voice actor, Mr. Eric Stewart. We got Mr. Darren Dunstan popping out of his iconic Toon World card. We got Taya Gardner, signed by her English voice actor, Amy. We got Bakura, signed by Ted Lewis. James, which is the voice actor of Weevil Underwood. Got Mr. Banded Keith with his Barrel Dragon signed. We got Mrs. Megan, and she is the English voice actor of My Valentine. She's the original, the OG. We got Mr. Duke Devlin, signed by Mark Thompson. I got a Shizu Ishtar signature. This is a nice trio set that I have, which is of Dan Green, Eric Stewart, and Jonathan Ross, all there with their iconic Egyptian god cards. One of my personal favorites is I had a custom token because they never made a custom token. I made one for Raphael and had it personally signed by Mark Thompson himself. Because if I'm going to have any character signed, I want my favorite character to be signed. I don't know if you know this, Evan, but Mark Thompson was also the voice of Valen. So I was like, you know what, might as well knock out both. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either. So yeah, so I got him to sign both for Raphael and for Valen as well. So I had Valen and Raphael personally signed. Sadly, I had to have this custom made through Etsy, which doesn't look as nice as the others, but this is signed by Alistair from Ted Lewis, which I also really like. So I have the trio of, antagonist boys. This is the voice actor of Jaden Yugi for the English dub. So we got that. I got the English voice of Mark Thompson of Chaz to sign this as well. So I have another GX character. When I went to Collecticon, I was able to get this from Eric Stewart. I got Eric Stewart to sign Bastion Misawa. This is an odd one to have, but I ended up noticing that Ted Lewis also was the voice of Chumley, so I was like, okay, might as well. Let's just do it because it's, right there. I was able to get from Erica to sign Camula, which was my personal favorite Shadow Rider, so I was able to get that done. My signed token of Aster, which is Oliver Wyman, so I got that taken care of. That I personally like very much. Alright, now I have my signed token of Greg Abbey being of Yusei Fudo. This is my signed token of Ted Lewis's Jack Atlas. I was able to get this signed for Akiza, which is the voice actor of Erica again. So I thought that was nice. This my husband got done while we were at Collecticon, which is the voice actor of Carly, which is also the voice actor of Ash Ketchum. She did Carly, which is Veronica Taylor, which her line was obnoxiously long, and I was like, yeah, I'm not waiting for that. But thankfully my husband wanted to meet Ash, so I ended up having him do that on the side for me. I had Mark Thompson also sign a token of Astral, because he signed, he's the voice actor of Astral in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, even though I don't like Zexal. I actually don't know this voice actor's name, but I have the voice actor of Yuya.
Some dude.
I forget his name. I have to.
But you asked him to sign it for you?
Well, because you know what it is? He didn't voice really anybody else, so it's like I'm not very used to any, if you don't do, a lot of these characters do multiple roles, but yeah. Yuya really, I think he did all the U-Boys, I believe. I have to look into that.
It would just be hilarious if he was a famous voice actor for an iconic anime character. Go ahead.
I got this voice actor. Actually, I think his name is Gong. I don't even remember anymore. It's been a while since I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, but yeah. Super Heavy Samurai, I love it.
Looks like it just says Black Tap. Go ahead.
Now, my voice actor of Yusaku, which was signed by Jake, got this taken care of. I actually picked this up pretty recently.
His name is Yusaku?
Yeah.
And that's from V-Rain?
Yeah, it's from France.
Okay.
This is the last one that I have of a character, which is, they never really had an official token card of, I want to say of Tristan. So I ended up having the Bandai card signed of Greg Abbey, so for Tristan, so because he's also the voice actor of Yusei. Now that I went through my plaques and my signed cards of the voice actors themselves, now I'm just going to be featuring just iconic cards that I personally liked, and I was like, you know what, I would like that in just in card form. A signed Karibo from Dan Green. This is my personal favorite Karibo, which I call a Niggeribo. So I got him. I also had Dan Green sign a Winking Wing Karibo because obviously, he got that from Jaden. He gave it to Jaden, so I feel like it all came back to, Mr. Dan Green himself, so I thought that was a nice addition. Then for this, I'm actually planning on turning this into a set, but I haven't gotten it yet, which is I have a Unity and a Judgment of the Pharaoh, both signed by Dan Green. I want to complete the set by getting a Yujo Friendship, signed by either, most likely by Dan Green and by Wayne Grayson. I think that would be a nice lineup. And then I could put, all this one, that one, and the Yujo Friendship in a plaque. I would like to do that, but so far this is slightly incomplete. I ended up getting this awesome Bandai Dark Magician, signed by Dan Green, which I like because I might make a Bandai set where I have maybe like 3 of his iconic Bandai cards and do it like that. This is a nice alternative art Dark Magician Girl, signed by Dan Green. This is going to be an interesting plaque. This that I'm going to feature now, it's nothing special by itself, but when I get the other 2 cards, I'm going to turn it into a plaque, which is Silent Magician Level 3. Eventually, I'm going to get a Gandora and a Silent Magician Level 4, and I want to have them all signed by Dan Green and turn that into a plaque. I have this Dark Magician Girl signed by Erica, which is her English voice actor. I have Dark Magician signed by Dark Magician's voice actor, which is Sagi the Dark Clown and Crush Card Virus, signed by Eric Stewart. I personally really like that because growing up as a kid, I really liked Sagi the Dark Clown, so having a rare version of Sagi in my own home, being like, I have that, I really, really like. Ted Lewis personally signed Change of Heart, which is Bakura's favorite card, which I think is a very nice addition. This is also the OG version of it. Obelisk, signed by Eric Stewart. And I have the Jonathan Ross Winged Dragon of Ra Phoenix Mode, which I thought was pretty cool. This is another Dark Magician Girl. I'm going to slide it all the way over here.
Yeah, give me more work.
That's right.
It's harder to go over there because that's where this big ass light is at.
And this Dark Magician Girl is signed by Taya. So we got Dan Green, Yugi's Dark Magician Girl. We got Dark Magician Girl signed by her voice actor. And Dark Magician Girl signed by Taya Gardner. So this is my Stardust Dragon signed by Greg Abbey, which is Yusei Fudo's voice, which is his iconic Sonic Dragon. So
why do you have St. Joan?
This is from the duel between Serenity in the 3-way duel. Mm-hmm. I like where like she summons St. Joan and she like beats like the perfectly Machine King.
Yeah.
And so this was the only card I ever seen signed by Serenity. So I was like, you know what? Do I really care about St. Joan? Not really. But to have something to mark of her voice in general, I was like, I guess I'll take it. I want to make this into a plaque. I haven't gotten all the necessary cards yet, but this is Fairy's Gift signed by Taya Gardner. I want to get this Shining Friendship. And there was another card that I wanted to get. It was Shining Friendship, Fairy's Gift, and Wabaku. And I wanted to turn that into a plaque for Taya. Haven't gotten the rest, but so far I at least have one of the cards. Blue Eye Shining Dragon and a Sorcerer of Dark Magic signed by Dan Green Yugi and Eric Stewart Kaiba from the Pyramid of Light, which I think is really iconic because both of them are from the packs that they came out. And I personally...
The movie pack?
Yes. So I thought that was really nice to have because it's not only an homage to the characters, it's also a nice homage to the Pyramid of Light movie. I have the alternative art of Toon World. I got the nice Toon Kingdom signed by Darren Dunstan. We got good old Doppelganger. What? You can't keep up? Can't keep up?
No!
Now I got good old...
I didn't even get to the Doppelganger. Say the Doppelganger again.
So we got good old Doppelganger signed by, Mr. Darren Dunstan himself. I like how he always features the Millennium Eye in each of his signatures. Then I got good old Toon Mermaid. And her nice accomplice, Toon Summon Skull. Eventually, maybe I'll make another plaque dedicated to good old Darren Dunstan. But as for right now, I don't really know. White Lightning Attack for Blue Eyes, being Eric Stewart. We got Dark Magic Attack for, good old Yugi with Dark Magician. I still need to buy Inferno Fire Blast and get that for Wayne Grayson. I haven't done that yet, but that's on my to-do list. Jinzo, signed by Wayne Grayson. Because obviously, who doesn't love Jinzo? Jinzo was a very big part of my childhood. And I feel like having it signed by Joey Wheeler is obviously a very nice flex.
Bitch, if anybody who doesn't know, when me and him were kids, this was the first card that he got because we were using a bunch of beat stick decks. So by the time the first person to get Jinzo really ran our little rivalry. So he got Jinzo first. So that's why I don't like this card.
Then I also have another signed Dark Magician by Dark Magician's English voice actor. A Breaker, the Magical Warrior. Breaker was one of my most favorite cards as a kid, so having that signed by, Dan Green was nice. I also, for whatever reason, I don't know why I got this, I ended up getting a signed XYZ Dragon Cannon from Chaz. This is my Seal of Orichalcos signed by Dan Green, which is Yugi. I have this one signed by Alistair. This is my Seal of Orichalcos signed by Mark Thompson for Valen. And finally, my Mark Thompson signed Raphael Seal of Orichalcos. And finally, one last card, one special card, kind of right near Obnoxious Celtic Guardian, actually. And this is, hold on.
Nigga, say it. I can't say it like this forever.
This is Obnoxious Celtic Guardian signed by Yugi. Some people really like to showcase how much they like Obnoxious Celtic Guard, but I really like Obnoxious Celtic Guardian. Yeah, buddy, you like...
Take 5.
Yeah, buddy, it's like you did such a good job of recording all my rare cards. It's just, wasn't that fun to watch?
No, my back hurts, my knees hurt. This was a lot to do when you weren't really the best.
So you're telling me I broke your back? Don't forget to check out my Instagram where I feature a lot of these cards, and you can check out that and see other, anytime I ever get a new signed card, you'll be, up to date with it. And yeah, and Spidey, you got anything else to add? You can watch our 2 previous videos. 2 previous videos, all of our private links to our Discord and personal stuff, so our master IDs are in the description down below. Mean a lot, check those things out. 2 previous videos. See you guys next time. Bye.